Hey buddies, welcome to this 4K recording of the Yawning Portal. This is a Dungeons & Dragons game. You may have played the Lords of Waterdeep. Lords of Waterdeep was the first Dungeons & Dragons board game that I can recall and have played and love. It is a worker placement game. It's a great gateway worker placement game. This happens to be in the same universe, but in this case we're at the Yawning Portal. It is a tavern. If you're playing this as a 4, you will be setting up the boards something like this. Let me show you how it would work as a 4, and then I'll be setting up differently. If you're watching this as a short, please head through to watch the full video on YouTube. And of course, make sure you hit that like button and notification bell for future videos. As you can see, this is being now laid out as a 4, and I will be now setting it up as a 2 just for space reasons. So you're taking out parts of this board, you're going to keep it in that middle section. I'll be telling you how this game works as a 2. I have played at other player counts, you can play it as a 3 and you can play it as a 4. So we are, here is our tavern. We have hungry travellers, they want to be fed. You are representing various people and that you're looking to serve them. And you're looking to try and get the most points at the end of the game by collecting gems and various other things. Everybody is going to take a selection of cards like these tiles, 1 per person. So let's move this up slightly and lay these out down the bottom here. These are actions you can take, and they bring out and populate various items here. Everything in this game is basically in a paper bag, although there's a huge amount of plastic in the game. You're going to be chucking out quippers and fish, which happens to be fish in blue. We're placing out, well, this is a wild, which I'll talk about later. In this bag, you're also going to have loads of other lovely ones. You're going to have red, representing meat. And whoever goes first is obviously going to go first. Whoever's going last is going to decide the order. So you're going to grab one of each as a 2-player game. As a 3, you're playing with an extra 1, so you're placing out 6, and you can choose amongst the 2 boards here. And if you're playing it as a 4, you're going to have that extra board, so again, you're placing out even more stuff. Let's just say the last player chucks out this, because they're going to see stuff in their cards, which we'll talk about in a second. The game will end when the final end positions are placed. It doesn't matter if there's still gaps in the side of that. And if you happen to be the final player in a turn, then everyone takes one more turn. If you're the first player, you've triggered the final round, so you will not get another turn. Also, you're going to have various cards. So these are cards with various heroes on the back. So these are going to be chucked out as well. So you're going to find whichever way you want to place them. You're going to place them, I'll place them facing me. There we go. So you're going to have some green ones going out. You're going to have some red ones. So you're going to grab all these red ones. And I have made sure I've been playing through all of these, so I've had a chance to try all the various characters and stuff like that. And in this game, it's kind of a set collection game as well. And there we are, we've pretty much finished with the setup part of the video. Again, if you'd like to see how to set up player reviews, check out my playlist for that. See, as you can see, a few more green cards to place out. And there we are now done with the setup. The last thing to show you are the lovely gems, which look down here like this. And if I open up the box, let's do it like this. You can see how gorgeous these gems look. So I'll move that off to one side. So, on your turn, let me show you how it works. Here's your turn card, and there's a player aid on the other side of that. Let's leave it partially in shot. You are going to select one of your action tiles. So before you do that, you're also going to take one of these cards each, and this is like a starting bit to work with. And you're going to try and place out and match. So again, somebody else placed these out, which I think was a fair way of looking at it. But let's say I want to try and complete this card, maybe, I'm not sure. Let's look into this. So you could flip this over, maybe that works better for me. Yeah, there's a couple of matches. So on your turn, you're going to pick an action down here. Now, are any of these things that work that help me place a card out? Well, this one lets me place a card out. So let's just move this to the front and show you how it works. So firstly, I must place out a quippers and fish. So I placed out a blue. A blue anywhere I like. So those are going to go on the places. And the blue one I can stick, I don't know, at the end. You've now got to match up to a whole zone, so we can't overlap it. And now I'm trying to match up as much as I can. So as you can see, I've got one match going on here. And in fact, I got very lucky here. Now I can swap 2 plates anywhere along. So I can swap this one with this one, whatever I like. I can swap these 2 around. So I've done the swapping, and now I place a card. Look at this, it's a perfect match. Brilliant. Firstly, you trigger this. You may flip one of your inactive action tiles. Well, we don't have any action tiles because we haven't flipped this over yet. But then what happens is we get our bonus. So firstly, you grab everything that matches. If only a few things match, then you just take what matches. So I'm going to take a yellow shard. Let's place it just in shot here. We're going to take a red shard. We're going to take a green shard. And this is a great example to show you how to play the game. A blue shard as well, and I get a bonus because everything matched. If everything did not match, then you only take the things that match and the card stays there. But because it does match, I take a white diamond, or I'm going to call it clear. And then because it matches, it flips over. Now those things stay there for the time being, as does everything else. A clear diamond you must assign to one of your gems. For now, let me just say it's going to assign to blue for whatever reason. Of these colours, maybe it's my favourite. Finally, you flip it to its inactive side. That means whenever I trigger this one again, it gives me one of these things. What does this let me do? Well, if there's a face-up card, all it ever does is it gets used and spent, but it gives me the bonus, and the bonus still stays visible there. Then this goes away. So if you want to use a bonus, well, let's talk about this card. Well, you're going to chuck down, funnily enough, a yellow tankard of ale or mead, and then you're allowed to, in this case, this lets you place out one of these, this lets you grab one of these. So there we go, that's how you might want to trigger those. We've then got some vegetables, you're going to chuck out one of these, and you're going to draw 2 cards, which might be helpful to be more useful with more options. And lastly, this one, you get a piece of meat chucked out, you remove one of these cards, and you then place one of your cards, and then you flip them over. And as you can see for the other ones, if you then dig this action, you're placing out a card, which again, it could give you some crystals. At the very least, it should give you something. You can swap 1 crystal that you have with 2 of anything else. So I could swap this and take 1 of each of those. It's up to me. Lastly, you've also got this one, or penultimately, you've got a free white diamond and lose a card from the center, face up or face down. And here, when you flip it over, you're allowed to place a card and remove a dish, which might help you to chuck something in. Now, should you have a card which has a gap? So this has a gap. It doesn't matter. Anything can go in a gap. So let's find you some more examples. Right in the center here. So there's a gap there. Don't worry about it. So how does scoring work, and what else is there to be aware of? Well, I haven't chucked out the special scoring cards. So there are some special scoring cards. And you're going to use 5 in the game. So you'd have 5 visible. So to show you, I don't know, let's move the board up slightly. You're going to have, for example, the first to have 6 white diamonds, the first to have 6 green crystals, the first to have 6 yellow crystals or topaz, green emeralds, the first to have 3 of each, and the first to have 6. There's all various ones you can have. The first to have 7 cards, and each game is different, so I have played through all the different cards. If you claim one of these, you're going to get 5 points at the end for each card you have. So majority rules, that's how that one works. And also let's talk about how scoring works at the end. So you're scoring points based on those cards you have at the end, those end set collection ones. Also, if you've only got this visible, because there are cards that lose cards, then you're going to times the amount of blue crystals. Remember, that's worth 2 blue because white is assigned to blue for the rest of the game. It's going to be 2 times the amount of visible blue cards. So this is going to give me 2 times 2 is 4 points. I have 1 green, so I get 1 point, 1 for red and 1 for yellow. So those are my points as well. The last 2 ways you score points is we've also got to look into sets. Whoever has the most of any amount, so I've got more blue than someone else's red or whatever it might be, I score an additional 10 points. Lastly, who has the most sets? So if at the minute I've got 1 set, so that would give me 15 points. But if someone had more sets than me, they would gain the points, okay? Otherwise, ties are friendly. So that's something to be aware of. And that is the game. It's good as a 3, it's good as a 2, and in my rating, firstly, it's a 7.36. My average rating is a 6.37, so it's above average. It's different to what you think it would be. It's very thinky, trying to think like, trying to get that to match, and I mean, that's going to give me a crystal, but what's going to happen is that's going to stay visible. Now, I might want this to flip because I have got a red ruby, but if someone else has more red rubies, it's really helping their score because of that multiplier at the end of the game, because these are all going to be visible too, so they're going to get 2 times whatever. So you just gifted them points equal to ruby they have. So it is rather thinky. It's a bit more thinky than I almost want it to be. It's clever, and I do appreciate that. Initially I thought, you're moving these things around, it's a bit too much. Obviously, sometimes these things are handy because you can see someone's going next, they can't do what you want them to do. You don't want them to get a crystal because you don't want them to be the first to get 6. So instead, you know that you're going first and you have more of an option, but they might have a card which says, refresh your cards or whatever it might be. So you think all of these will fill up, they will not. They'll typically have people be losing food or typically losing cards because you do not want them to be scoring high. So there is take that, but it's a very clever take that. I appreciate that effort going into it. It's not luck, it's more about, I've got this. So I don't think there's much luck in this game, which is rather impressive. And obviously the component quality is very high, very impressive. Obviously, like, I mean, look at this box, it's incredible. So yeah, it's very highly appreciated. And yeah, it's an interesting game. Like I said, it's more thinking than anticipated. It doesn't outstay its welcome. It's about 40 minutes to play, typically, for most games, 40 to 50. And obviously, regardless of player count, it doesn't really take longer because everyone's going around. I mean, there are a few more turns to take. So yeah, a slightly more longer duration in player count in that respect. But any questions, please let me know in the comments best on YouTube. There are occasionally competitions, but they are time sensitive, so keep checking back via Linktree. I know there is one coming though. Also, please head through to support the channel via Patreon and Facebook, and check out over 2,900 posts, including on Facebook and on Instagram, which are live all the time, so follow along to check there first. Like I said, that has been the Yawning Portal. This is by Avalon Hill. Any questions? I hope you enjoyed. And for now, back to the table.